that litigation.
We'll call this meeting to order. This is a work session of the Mayor and Borough Council of the Borough of Seaside Park, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, held on Monday, July 1st, 2024, advertised for 7 p.m. Pursuant to the provisions of New Jersey's Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting was properly provided by transmitting the notice of the meeting for publication in the Asbury Park Press and the Star Ledger on January 5th, 2024. Notice of this meeting of the governing body also has been posted in the corridor of the municipal building and in the office of the municipal clerk. Roll call.
Councilmember Immobile?
Here.
Councilmember Condos?
Shows a scheduling issue this evening.
Thank you. Councilmember Connor?
Here.
Councilmember Kraft?
Here.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Here.
Council President Wilk?
Here.
Mayor Peterson?
Here.
Thank you.
The discussion item on the agenda, there are two interrelated proposed resolutions for consideration for the regular meeting, and both of them focus upon issues associated with the 13th Avenue boat ramp. And this issue had come up in the last several weeks in different contexts, and what has occurred is an accumulation of sand within the confines of what you call the side bulkhead, the side of the ramp itself, to such an extent that it's causing significant problems with the boaters, launching their boats, getting them out, getting them in the water, and the like. As you know, Doug Romeyer of CME has done a significant amount of work and also has a lot of the mapping of right in that area already, as he's worked for the town and for the planning board, also dealing with the JCP&L issue, which is right adjacent to that on their proposed cable. And he's also done a lot of work with the 14th Avenue on the trying to maintain that, which had been caved in, and from flood mitigation efforts and what's ongoing there. So he had given us this proposal, and we've all spoken as well with Eric and the Public Works. Issues apparently exist as to the utilization of equipment, and I guess, and I'll turn the floor over to those here in the governing body, know better than I know, but apparently we don't have the, is it a long neck, whatever that?
A long stick excavator.
Yeah,
Long stick excavator is what is the ideal, or back the only piece that could gouge that out, which we don't own. So you would have to rent one apparently, and then issues had arisen whether or not when you rent them, if the salt water would be such an impediment that no company would bid or want to do it. I don't know beyond that, but and then the other resolution is authorization from the governing body for the Public Works Department to take whatever steps they can just to mitigate the situation, to gouge it out even by hand, some of it. And I know Doug's proposal breaks it down. There's an issue with, once the sand is actually gouged out, taken out by whatever means, there's a risk whether the DEP would label it or call it dredge spoils, even though we know it's sand that's accumulating from right in that very location. So he's put in his proposal what kind of authorization the DEP would need, if any, and whether they need any or not, and then what to do beyond that. And he raised an issue which I don't know that we're even desirous to look into, is going further out beyond that. That area is, even he said it would fill in almost immediately again, as history has proven it, to get out anywhere near the inland waterway, but at least that would allow the boaters to get their boat in the water. So just our area, what we own. So I don't know, everybody's aware of the problem, I know, and we've all been wrestling with it, what to do.
I think when those particular boats were launched there, we had very low tides at that point. I did walk that whole ramp. There's muck in the bottom of it. I don't know how far out I'll have to go by the experts, how far out we really want to go into the ramp to clean it. My theory was to get what we can from the beginning of the ramp, the land side, let the waves keep bringing it in, just keep removing it. Give that as a trial. That was just my suggestion.
Your
We also-
walk, how deep was it?
I got down to, right up to my chest.
Okay.
So what
And
you
there was
got,
some large boat trailers, I missed it by a minute. Guy was pulling out, going to South Seaside Park, he had a huge trailer. His boat was already launched. And I did go back, over the weekend just to witness some, larger boats, but there was nothing there when I went there. I think it's a tide issue, not questioning, there is muck and everything, sand in that, that's filled up. But I don't know if, it hasn't been maintained since it was put in.
Or do you know when that ramp was built?
No.
Well, it was redone in, was it just before Sandy or?
2011, I think.
2000,
Yeah.
and it's never been touched since then, so it's out there 12 years.
The ideal time to maintain it would be in the wintertime, we have a blowout tide to clean it. We could probably do that in-house if you did a little at a time. Problem is, what kind of permits do we need to do that, if any? That's really the question.
Mhm.
Do we really want to clean it out 50 or 60 feet out? That's being proposed, I don't know.
Well, there's been complaints. I mean, and it's like, what do we do? I can't get my boat in, give me my money back from my, season pass or whatever. There's been complaints that I'm aware of, and some given to me directly, over the past few years about it. So, obviously, it's been going on for a little bit. It causes a lot of angst down there, especially with our employees down there who take the brunt of somebody comes over right away and tries to get it out. And, you guys are gonna pay for my boat, you guys are gonna pay for, all the stuff that you might hear like that. So, I mean, that's an issue too. So, I mean, I'm not an engineer, I'm not a voter, or anything like that, but if nothing's been done since it's put in, something probably has to be done. And, even if it's something temporarily now, and then we can look at it in the winter, but I think some has to be done to try to quiet down some of the responses and the angst that people experience down there.
Or do we want to do it in-house, or do we want to farm it out?
Depends on what we're going to do,
Yeah.
and do we have permission to do it?
When you were describing before what you were doing, if you gouged at it a little bit at a time, you're saying it would level off, kind of, through the tide? Maybe.
That's my theory.
It might, yeah.
And let's face it, what size boat are we putting in there? If we take we're able to scoop out the first 15 or 20 feet, we have a 25-foot boat. Trailer might help. Just start with something.
I agree with something. Something, yeah, something.
I don't know what equipment we have, how far we can reach in there. And the matting is on the bottom of it, you can't gouge out the matting.
Right.
And we could do a limited amount, maybe with shovels, we talked
I
about.
tried that, I went there.
Oh, it doesn't? No.
It's gonna come off the shovel. It's not heavy, it's muck. It's not sand where you're shoveling sand.
No, it's like,
It's seaweed, it's everything.
Yeah.
It's muck,
It's
when
like
you
soup.
walk on it, it's
Yeah.
soft.
Is the one resolution broadly enough worded, allows the public works, if we're part of it, anyone and everyone to take whatever steps are necessary? And the other one is authorization for Doug Romeyer and CME to dig into it as well.
That's just for the engineering part, not
Yeah.
the actual work and the
Yeah.
soils.
Yeah,
which
that's,
would be down,
That could turn into a really big number.
yeah.
he was hopeful, but he had no idea what, if you can find, I think he used the buzzwords, a beneficial use, something the DEP characterizes it as clean that it might be utilized, that we could use it. That's what he was hopeful for, but I don't know how they, you bring it up on
Yeah,
land
dry
and
it.
you dry it and test it. That seems to be the process he was talking about. So we have some area there we could use
We got a
that.
spot we could put it right there where it's eroding,
Where it's needed,
Where it's
yeah,
needed.
that's, I think, what he had in mind.
which is perfect.
Yeah, it's right there,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
So,
I think the question is how far out do we want to go? You know, more for maintaining and cleaning it, but how far, we're not going to go make a channel out there.
No,
No, that's not realistic. I would think just sufficient right where the end of our ramp is. Beyond that, a little ways, and then that boaters are used to, they're on their own. I'm not a boater, but
so you're suggesting like the end where our bulkhead is? That right?
where
No,
the,
no, from the beginning,
Just-
the dry land out, as far out as we could reach.
Yeah, but no further than the end of the bulkhead.
Oh,
That's
that's
right.
like 90 feet.
I know, well, you never reach it.
We can't, we move
Yeah.
along,
that would be,
it's 60 feet.
yeah, that would be
That's
too
it.
far.
Yeah, okay.
Anything else past that?
Half,
They
What's-
dried that out, you know, they dammed it when it was built. There was
Uh-huh.
no water in it.
right,
The matting was put in, and it was, that's how that ramp was put in.
I got
I
you.
probably have photos of that being built. That's before digital.
What's the approximate length of our ramp? What is just the ramp itself?
It goes out. the full
Oh, it
length,
does?
90 feet, I
90
think.
feet. The long reach only reaches 60, I believe, right? 60 feet.
I mean, that's what it is, yeah. Well, I mean, what do? We do 15 feet, 20 feet, and then say, I don't know, but I think something has to be done.
Yeah,
You know,
Far can our equipment that we have on
Depends on the
hand.
tide. Sure.
well,
I would say
I think,
reach out as far as we can reach out,
yeah, I
see
think
how it
Doug,
levels out.
Doug could couch it if he looks, if it gets to the point of looking for a contractor, he could say 20 feet, 40 feet, might have alternate, you know, plan A or alternate plan B, C,
Yeah.
and see what it looks like, and we all, I mean, you've actually walked it, I've been out there, I didn't go as far as you did, and it gets deep,
It does.
Yeah.
I went out as far as I could
yeah.
without really getting under. It was a nice tide there.
So you would think they could launch very easily at that point, so that one day, the tide was very up, but as you come into there is a lot of accumulation there, sand
Well,
and stuff.
Probably
I
the
don't
problem
deny
is,
the fact that your boat's up on a trailer, so you need water underneath it.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the problem, I think, they just couldn't float it off the
They couldn't float it
trailer.
off
Yeah.
the trailer.
Yeah.
Because you have the balance where you have your pickup and then you have the trailer, you know, you got that balance, you can't get the back of the truck underwater either. I mean, your boat's up high, you know, the keel's here, and the water's there, so it's a,
Hmm.
I understand the theory, I mean, I have a
Yeah.
boat.
What's everybody's thoughts on there are two resolutions to work with Doug? I mean, Doug would sit down with all of us. and-
Yeah, no, we should move forward. on it.
Yeah,
we have to do something.
yeah, and then
We gotta do something.
the other gives some authority to the Public Works.
Yeah.
Whatever they have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't foresee us attempting to go any further than the compounds of that ramp to do anything. Then it'd be foolish, it's only gonna fill back in. I don't know what the feasibility of closing that ramp back up, you know, stopping the water and then digging it out. I think it would be a big project.
We have to wait till after the season.
Yeah.
So,
But I will go through my photos, I know I have a photo of that being built. That's
Mhm.
before digital, so it takes me a little time to locate it.
All right, so we move forward with
Yeah,
that.
that's on for action at the regular meeting, yeah. Anyone else on the council for work session items? That was the big item that had been a topic. If not, we'll go into the audience if there are any comments on the work session item as to the ramp. Anyone? Yes, okay.
Yeah, Jen Herring, 21 High Street. $20,000 just for his opinion on what to do, and that's it for the ramp?
Where do you see?
What's that? What?
Where do you see 20?
It's not to exceed, yeah.
That's what's over.
And you're not getting any work, anything, you're just getting an opinion from him on what to do about it. $20,000.
Well,
So next one.
that's the hilly phase.
That's the other, that's the big time, that's the,
That's where all the phases are right up to 4.
yeah. That's what we decided to, he's just giving us a proposal, it's an estimate of what it would be to go out and do this in a more permanent fashion. And we would have to decide which part of this we would want to do. So-
Right, but you're proposing $20,450 outlined in the proposal dated June 25th, so I don't know what that is because that's not in this one. But you're just asking him to provide engineering services. And that's, to me, a lot of money for what? For what? That's what I'm asking.
Well, it's not to exceed that, but, I mean, it's a fair question. I don't have that letter right with me. Do we have that?
Yeah.
I'll get you that, because that outlines it from A to Z. Was it?
I mean, you're asking him that $20,450
Oh, you
is for
There you
more
go.
than just
Oh,
this.
Gotcha.
It's on here,
We
on
have
this
it.
paper?
No,
No, it's measuring, it comes in phases. It's
Yeah.
actually $1,800 is the first phase, and
Right.
surveying is the next page. Limited topographic, bathymetric survey, projected
Right.
limits, seeing, I know they have to take out samples of the sediment, put it on dry land, measure it, see if DEP would accept it as beneficial. That's in
That's
phase,
being done in-house, you think?
the actual taking it out,
Not the analyzing, yes.
probably
Yeah.
has to be somebody certified in that. I
Yeah.
don't know
Well,
that.
there's thousands of dollars just for permitting fees.
Yeah,
That's why they're
anything you
engineering.
touch the water, you get CAFRA. He's got CAFRA waterfront permit. Obviously, we hope that that's not required, but it sounds like it is. He calculates.
it's not easy.
He's got to calculate dredge spoils quantity, measuring it, methods of disposing, DEP as per the permit, development permit, prior tidelands grant permit. Then you have to notice all property owners
Mhm.
within 200 feet.
Okay, how
Yeah.
much money do we get for having that boat ramp there?
2024, $12,890.
Total?
That's just year to date,
That's year to date,
$12,000 right now, year to date,
$12,890
That's the income on that.
right now,
right now.
with the rest of the season to go.
What did we do last year, do you know? Bill, you have an idea?
No, not offhand.
We don't have
It's
that.
probably not much more than that, I suspect.
Is it worth it? Let him go
Well,
someplace
the
else?
other,
Well, hasn't been maintained since 2011,
the other
That's
choice is
never
to
been
abandon it,
cleaned
which
out.
is
We don't want to do
not
that.
acceptable.
We don't want to abandon it.
Yeah.
Last year's year to date was 12,370. I didn't give you that, I have it here,
Okay.
so I just gave you this one. 'cause I
Yeah,
thought-
no,
Yeah,
I think,
so it's 12,890 right now.
And do you happen to know, is it used mostly from visitors, or is it used from property owners who right now?
Faye, it's used by, honestly, it's one of the most popular boat ramps in the bay. I can tell you that right now. It's a double boat ramp. There's not hardly any of those around. There's parking there for people, for your trailer and everything. And there's not a lot of parking in other boat ramps that other people would want to use. We have people from Tom's River coming over here and using it. They'll pay a daily or a seasonal fee. We just raised the daily boat ramp fee from $25 to $30 this year, and so it might be why there's a little bit of a
Yeah.
difference there.
I agree.
But, I interject, Mr. Count. And we haven't touched it in 12 years.
Yeah.
If we got, say, $12,000 a year, it's $120,000 we got for the thing without touching it at all. Without spending a dime for the last 12 years, at least $120,000. So I look at it that way.
It's also, as you're saying, a future source of revenue that we need to fix.
So you fix it now,
Yes.
it should be 10 more years.
Nelson?
Well, our marina uses
Depends on how many slow.
our marina uses the ramp. Our marina also uses that.
Nelson Rosenberg, 122 M Street. I didn't hear anybody, or maybe you have, talk about dredging. In other words, why bring a shovel in there if we can get a small barge on one half and then have pumps go over the other half and suck out that half and put that sand on one side of the bank, and then they're gonna move that barge over and pump that other side and put it on the other side.
Well, we didn't say we weren't doing that.
You want what?
We didn't say we weren't going to do
How do
that,
you talk about doing it?
because that's why we're paying an engineer to tell us how to do it. What would be the best option?
What if you get an estimate from a dredging company? They do that kind of stuff. And maybe he'll give you an idea for free. You can, and then maybe he'll get the work.
We can go that route, but who's gonna get the permits on the borough's behalf? We need an engineering company to do our specs.
All right, then get the engineer to do just that.
Well,
That's
what
what
we're
he's
doing.
That's what he's
That's all
doing.
this is doing.
All right, just that.
That's what we're doing.
Okay, that wasn't written out what I saw tonight. Anyway, that's why I wasn't sure. Okay. So that price is for just the engineering to pursue permits, is that right?
And there's more, I mean, what you said may make a lot of sense. But there's a caveat in this letter, whether it goes to other permits, Freshland, if it's a hazard mitigation area, if it's a potential freshwater wetlands permit, coastal wetlands permit, there's a whole bunch of other permits.
Those
We're
guys-
hoping that we don't need.
Those guys who do those bulkheads, they're pretty sharp as far as knowing getting permits also, aren't they?
In terms of getting permits?
Sure. Before they can do a job, you would think that they have permits.
You would think.
Try calling one, see what he says. We have to get an engineer. I'm telling you, if we have to get an engineer involved, great. But try the bulkhead companies. We'll bring a barge in there and they'll start pumping one side and move it over. Put the sand on both sides, let it dry. Try that. Talk about that. Thanks.
Okay, Nelson, thank you.
Any other public comment? Yes, sir.
Tom Joseph, 704 South Bayview Avenue. Wow, I really don't get the impression you guys are boaters, and frankly, I'm not either. So I have no clue how to maintain a boat ramp. But I'm hearing it's a good thing to have, so I think we should maintain it. My first step, if it were me, is I'd ask Eric to call his opposite number at every one of the towns up and down the bay where they all have boat ramps and say, how do you maintain your boat ramp? And 7 or 8 out of 10 of them are going to say, oh, we don't. Well, 1 or 2 of them might say, oh, I hire so-and-so. And so-and-so might be a dredging company, or it might be an engineering firm, who knows? But they might know how to do this easily. They might know if their permit's required, because among other things, we have a boat ramp. It's probably grandfathered. I don't know. But to me, I would start by calling a few people and finding out how other people handle this problem instead of spending $20,000 on an engineering firm whose only goal is to collect engineering hours. Anyway, I mean, if it was your own home and you were dealing with some analogous problem, is this what you would do? Yeah, well, somebody agreed
I'd like
with
to
it.
answer that question.
Sure.
We went that exact route. Lavalette can't use their ramp because it's filled in. We checked we had borough administrator contact every municipality.
So
That was,
nobody
well,
maintains
exactly
theirs?
what you said is exactly what we did. And everything went through Eric.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. I just, you know, that's the sort of information that makes this stuff easier for us to understand. That we've taken these steps, they failed, we're gonna have to go this other way. Instead, I heard a lot of, oh, no, I don't know. And it's just, these problems have solutions, and I'd like to hear some indication that we don't just throw money at them.
Well, Tom, you're absolutely right, okay, because we just got this given to us about 8 or 9 days ago, and we approached it right away, okay? I went down there, I talked to one of the people that complained to one of our employees. I got an earful, okay, but I worked it out with him, he's calmed down now, he understands things, and I told him that we would be doing something with it. All right? So over 8 or 9 days, we have gotten the suggestions, we're trying to figure out what it is. We have people walking in the water, I'm down there talking to people, and I will give you the latest, roughly, figures of what that ramp did last year totally, for the whole year, $39,714 total.
Fine. I'm
So-
in favor of
I know you're in
having it
favor,
there and
but
having
we've
it
been working
maintained.
on this for like 8 or 9 days, and we've gotten to the point, and we're trying to decide the best and most economical way to do this and satisfy the boaters there, so we don't have to give back seasonal passes or anything else like that, and to try to save our employees from getting an earful all the time. I know that's their job and they can take it, so we're trying to work through this. So I don't know what else wants to do, we're just trying to get it.
All right.
So-
But understand, we sit here and we listen to this, and we don't see all the paperwork you guys see, and we don't see that stuff, and nobody comments on it. And other than sometimes you mention it to Shoreby, but I'll talk about that later. Anyway, if the only solution is to bring in an engineer to do it because you've tried everything else, fine. I'd just like to try the cheap ways first, and if we've done that, we've done that.
I think that's what's on our minds all the time, and then when we look at something. Whether you believe it or not, that's the truth, so, yeah.
The only way we'll have confidence that's happening is if we hear about it. And an awful lot of this stuff is just simply not mentioned in these meetings.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other public comments on the boat ramp? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. I'd entertain a motion from council to adjourn the work session, take a brief moment, and then begin the regular meeting.
So make,
Motion by Councilmember Rotundo, second by Councilmember Allenville. Any opposition? Hearing none, we'll stand adjourned momentarily.